Hey everyone, my name is Edwina. I work with Fun Powered at Youth on Record, and I'm so excited today to be talking with Megan from Mama Magnolia. Mama Magnolia has a show at Globe Hall on August 13th and 14th, and we are just so thrilled to be able to sit down with you, Megan, and talk to you before your show.
Yay, thank you for having me. It's so nice to be in the Youth on Record Kiva with you virtually.
Yeah, awesome. My first question, I was curious about how your band name came together.
Sure. Yeah, so Mama Magnolia is based, it's a six-piece band. Most of us went to college together at University of Denver, Lamont School of Music. Most of us were studying jazz at the time, and in different aspects of the music program there. And we all kind of hail from a whole bunch of different musical backgrounds, but the thing that really kind of glues it together for at least the beginnings of the band was definitely our love for jazz and soul music. So um, we wanted to, as we were naming the band, we first we had a different band name that I will not mention what it was because I'm embarrassed by it. Um, but we were trying to come up with a name. It had my name at the beginning of it, but once we started collaborating more, we realized that we needed a different, more inclusive, not just Megan Letts and the. So we wanted a family vibe, which is where the mama came from, and we all kind of dug that. We were like, "Ooh, mama something," and then we were throwing around a couple other ideas, and then. Um, I think our saxophone player at the time said Magnolia because we were trying to think of things that kind of reminded us of our jazz backgrounds. And Billie Holiday, someone who I admire an incredible amount, used to wear both gardenias and magnolias in her hair a lot. And so that one just really like clicked and we were like, oh, this is the name. This is the name. We like this name.
That's awesome. I love that story.
Yeah.
How did your band actually come together? So I know you all were at the same college. How did you guys meet and how did you decide to form the band?
Sure. So Thomas, the guitar player, Jackson, the drummer, and we were all in the jazz program. Carrie was in the classical program, the trumpet player, and we started kind of just playing. I wanted to play like pop music and get gigs and do the bar gig thing because I had never done it before. And so we started just kind of playing out, learning a whole bunch of covers. And then once we got really comfortable playing together, I started bringing in original music. And Thomas, the guitar player, and we became very close and we started sharing music together. And that kind of jump started the whole thing, it was just really sweet that we had this relationship that just bred openness and love for music together. And then it just kind of, we started playing less covers and more originals, and we started doing like less wedding band stuff and more like indie pop stuff. And uh, yeah, and that's like the very bite-sized version of how we began.
Very cool. What is your creative process like as a band when you're writing new music?
Sure. It's definitely changed a lot over the last year. It really began as someone would bring in an idea, and I think that we're pretty unique in this, but all six of us it's collaborate in the writing process. So one person will bring in an idea, and then we kind of slowly build the pieces together until we have the full puzzle, and everybody participates in that. So even though a lot of the ideas may have started in my brain. They really have come to life once everybody participates in the process. And we call that magnolifying a song.
I
So,
love
so sometimes I'll come in with like a little pop tune or a singer-songwriter type tune, and then it'll end up being this like huge epic soul piece that's like, you know, has twists and turns and what not even close to the way it started. Um, So it's a really intimate and delicate process because there's six brains coming together to form one piece of music, which at times can be frustrating, but it's always so rewarding at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I know you mentioned that you are now based in Seattle. How do you
Yes.
think distance sort of impacts your creative process, or how do you guys navigate that as a collective?
Yeah, great question. This last year was everyone was kind of distant, so we just like everybody else, kind of got to learn how to work distance because I moved at the end of 2019. Um, and so at the end of 2019, we said, well, we're just going to have to continue to work some way. And then we didn't know about Zoom, but we had kind of already been sending ideas via text or phone or email or whatever. So then this last year, we really dug in and leaned into the Zoom writing process, which was fascinating. We did a couple different writing retreats where we would all meet together in the morning. We would do kind of icebreaker, even though we know each other really well, but just like less than icebreaker and more like reconnecting with each other. We'd reconnect and ask each other really personal questions and dig in a little bit. And then we would do these little breakout sessions where we'd all go into different Zoom rooms and write. And it was challenging, but we've written some of our best music, I think, that way. Some of the songs we haven't even played yet together, but we will be playing them at the shows this weekend. So that'll be fun to finally play some very super, super, super fresh, brand new music that we wrote in the last 6 months.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had sort of one more additional question with distance, but what is sort of like rehearsing or practicing like with that distance?
Yeah, a lot of personal practice.
Okay.
And then anytime we have shows, we just really we always budget in a couple extra days on either side.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sweet. My next question is not related to distance anymore, but I know you mentioned, uh, was it Ella Fitzgerald earlier that you mentioned?
Billie Holiday, but
Uh,
also Ella. I mean, another jazz great. Yeah.
I was gonna ask what other artists inspire you and your bandmates?
Oh my gosh, we all really, as far as we were talking about this in the van yesterday, actually. As far as more modern stuff, we really love bands like Lake Street Dive, who kind of have a similar poppy but jazz grounded sound. Um, but I personally, one of my biggest influences is Joe Cocker. I think that even though it's like a dude from the 70s, I just really find his performance as well as his interpretation of music really powerful. As a band, we do listen to a lot of jazz, like Thomas loves Julian Lage, an incredible jazz guitar player. We all love like Chance the Rapper. I'm trying to think of albums that like when we all put on, the whole band is like, yes, we love this. Gosh, let me think. Krungbin, but who doesn't like Krungbin? And I never know if I'm saying that wrong. Do you know that band? Krungbin?
I don't
Krongbin? They're really incredible. They're more instrumental, but they're really awesome. So yeah, we really dig into both the old and the new as far as influences.
nice.
Yeah,
Sweet. And so the band did start then in Denver, correct?
it did. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We all went to school at well, not all of us. Started at University of Denver. And then Alex, the saxophone player, and Zach, the bass player, both went to CU Boulder. But the rest of us were at DU.
Sweet. While you
Yeah.
were all in Colorado, did you have like a favorite venue that you love to play together?
Oh man, we used to really, when it first opened, we really loved playing Ophelia's. That was always really fun. Um, and we haven't played Roxy, which used to be Syntax, but we played it when it was Syntax, and we love that venue. That place was just like such a fun vibe, great sound, great people. We've, I think it's crazy because we've played like, everything from tiny house shows to like the Mission Ballroom. And the Mission Ballroom was our last Denver show. We opened for California Honey Drops and Fruition at the Mission Ballroom in January of 2020. And you can't really beat that, It was like practically sold out. It was total. I think it might have been sold out. It was packed in there. It felt so good. So, but at the same time, I love a small bar venue where we get to like meet everyone afterwards. So range.
Yeah, I know. January 2020, that's so long ago, but it doesn't.
So long ago. Yeah.
What-
Crazy.
as an artist, what has it been like for you kind of starting to play live again?
It's been pretty emotional to get real for a sec. Not that this hasn't been real, but I this question just feels like it can feel kind of heavy right now because especially with some of the fears of new variants and stuff coming out, there's still like this other kind of expectation and fear surrounding performance. But when I'm on stage with the band, I think I speak for all six of us. It's it feels like an arrival, like coming home again, where you I don't we don't have to think about what we're playing necessarily. We just get to think about playing together. And I think that that's a pretty important distinction. We're not like focusing on like, oh my gosh, like how did this part go? How did this part go? It's just like, oh, this is the space that we are so comfortable in and know we can just really lean into. Um, so it feels magical. It really does. Um, I'm trying to, we just have to be safe and respectful um, and just enter into this new musical space with respect and kindness towards everyone. I hope that people have learned that without having music for the last year, how important music is, live music is. It's not just like we're not just jesters, it's like and we're not just entertainment, we're art. And so I'm trying to also put that in my own brain of like, okay, we're art, where we are re-entering into this space as true artists. So it feels good. It feels good.
Good. I love that word you picked of arrival. It's like that's
Yeah.
the perfect word for it.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you for answering that. I was gonna also ask if you could picture yourself at 16,
Mm.
do you think the music you are making now, how do you think your 16-year-old self would react to the music you're making now? This is my question.
Oh, I love that question. 16-year-old me would be like, oh man, let me just think about what I was listening to at
Sure.
16. I think I'd be into it. I think I'd be like, wait, you're not doing like just jazz anymore? You're like, wait, you're actually playing the music that you listen to? Because I was really into I was a classical trumpet player in high school as well as a jazz vocalist. And so I was really like, I don't want to say studied, that seems like such a weird word, but I was very like focused into like this um like into being a like studied musician. I really wanted that. I wanted to be like, I thought I was going to be a professor or work or be in a symphony or do something more in that realm. So I think 16-year-old me would be like, cool. You did a cool thing. Hopefully.
Very sweet. Kind of still thinking in that realm, if you could tell that 16-year-old musician
Mm,
something you know now that
mm.
you wish you knew then, what would it be?
Learn as many instruments as possible. It's really nice to be able to. I'm like I'm an okay piano player. I'm a less okay guitar player. Um, and I think that because I was like so focused on like trumpet and voice, which I'm still really glad that I was that focused on. I wish I had like opened up a little bit more to learning other instruments and just being like, I don't have to be amazing at piano. I don't have to be amazing at guitar, but just learning how to play them and learning the basics early on, I think would have been helpful instead of like learning these things as in my 20s. Learning them in my teens would have been helpful.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, in addition, your band, Mama Magnolia, is also a music ambassador for Youth on Record.
Yes.
What was your decision as a band? What was making that decision as a band like, and why did you make that decision to be a music ambassador?
One of the easiest decisions we've ever made as a band. Um, I used to, I got involved with Youth on Record with a different band that I was managing because I also work in artist management. And so I remember coming to the space that we're sitting in right now. I'm coming to the headquarters and walking around and just feeling like it was such, if I had that is something, if I was 16, that is another thing in that same realm, I would have told myself to play music with more people. And I think it was really beautiful walking into Youth on Record the first time, just the community aspect of like of sharing and being so vulnerable about musicianship and music industry stuff. So it was a pretty quick I brought it back to the band instantly and was like, we have to partner with these people. They're just doing incredible work. They're really inspiring so many young adults and kids to do what we do. And I think another reason why we were so drawn to be an ambassador is because oftentimes there can be a narrative as musicians where people don't think of it as a real job, which can be really painful to hear that, when you're at a dinner party and your friend's mom is like, yeah, but how do you pay the bills? Like that kind of conversation can be really painful because this is how we pay the bills. There's this there's this false understanding that musicians are like all poor and like eating top ramen even when they're in their 30s and can't have a family and that's just so not true. And so Youth on Record is a place that I think is helping change that narrative. And that's something that's always been important to us as a band because that narrative I just think is so false. And we are so drawn to the way that Youth on Record has really like helped reshape that narrative.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that too, and we're so grateful for your support in that work.
Yeah.
My
It's
final
it's
question.
truly incredible. It's incredible. It's just like, I'm such a fan.
Great. My final question, I was thinking about some of the younger people that we work with, but if you could offer a piece of advice to a young person who is interested in pursuing music or interested in exploring a creative industry in general, what would
Mm.
that piece of advice be?
Trust yourself and don't say no to any idea. I think that um, so oftentimes in our society, there's similar to what I was just talking about, there's an expectation to succeed. But but Mozart didn't succeed by thinking he needed to succeed. Musical genius or any sort of creative genius or just empowered person. The goal isn't success, the goal is creativity. And all you have to do to be creative is say yes. So just don't say no to any idea that comes across your mind or just at least explore it because that might be the thing that gives you the most life.
I love that too. You said all you have to do to be creative is say yes.
Yeah.
That's such a good quote. That could be a pillow quote. That's such a good
That
quote.
could be yes. Frame it. Frame it. Stick
Absolutely.
it.
Well, Megan, again, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. I've loved getting to sit down and just hear your ideas about
Yeah.
music and creativity and your band. We're looking forward to your show on the 13th and the 14th, and
Yay.
thanks again for supporting Youth on Record.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Edwina. And you are just, I can tell that you are just a bright light, and it's an honor to be able to speak with you. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Megan. Oh, there's emoji claps.
Yay! Woo! Oh, that's so
Yep.
fun.